Recently this weekend, I actually worked with a client of mine for a content shoot. And in doing that, I ended up in a space that I said I would never go back to. And that was the club. Now, my girl actually called me out on this, and this was actually pretty interesting. But I didn't even think about it. Sometimes you end up getting pulled back into what you said you wanted to leave behind, and you don't even recognize it. And that's why having good people around is so important. But let me break it down. I did a content shoot for a client. He's a clothing designer, very talented brother. And the first stop was a photography studio. We went there with some models and we executed a photo shoot, a video shoot, a content shoot, just in general. The second thing that we did, the second thing we went to go do a documentary. Both of those things, innocent, doesn't matter. The last thing I wanted to, because he has a lifestyle brand, and it's for urban wear, urban streetwear. I wanted to put him in an environment in which it embodied everything and show it in real time, show the clothes in real time in spaces that it made sense in. So me, being me, the ex promoter that I am, I said let's go to the club, bottles popping with the sign with his brand on there. I thought that would be really cool to see. And while it was really cool to see and experience, I think the whole day, honestly, was top tier. But it drugged me into a space that I said I did not want to go to, the whole club environment. And the first feelings that I remember having in that space was, dang, you think you missed something, but then you really don't miss it. But the crazier part about it is I felt more normal and I felt more comfortable in the club than I have been feeling in all of these new spaces, right? I feel more comfortable in the club than I do at the church. I feel more comfortable at the club than I do at the Titan 100 event that I went to, or just Bible studies. I feel more comfortable here. Why? Because it's more familiar to me. I recognize the devils. I recognize the good and the bad, and I know how to handle myself in this space. But let me tell you, and this is why spiritual warfare is so important, man. I went into that club with a clean heart, clean slate. Me and my lady been having an excellent relationship. Me and my family, everything's been building back. Me and my business has been growing. Everything has been so amazing. I've been wanting and willing and ready to go to church. But I'm gonna tell you the big mistake. I walked into that club. It was the biggest mistake that I could have made. Not because it's anything wrong with the club, but because of me and my spiritual positioning and what I feel like I've been called to do. So when I walked in that club, everything was good. I'm sitting down, I'm chilling, and I'm vibing. Now everybody gets there, and I'm just still vibing. I don't really drink like that, but I did do a toast. I did take a shot. And as I took the shot, after that, I'm just drinking cranberry juice. I'm not drinking nothing else because in my mind, I know I don't want to get drunk. And so I'm being mindful of that. Why I felt like a little surge come through me, like a, it was so crazy. It's probably gonna sound unrealistic, but I felt something like, and it moved me up a little bit. It was nobody bumping me or anything. It was really like something with my body. It kind of jumped. And it felt like a wave entered my body. That's the best way that I can explain it. Now, I didn't think too much about it at the time, but after that, I started getting real like flirty thoughts. I'm a flirt naturally. I started getting flirty thoughts. I started looking at women a little differently. I start feeling you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, look, it's time to go. I'm a good man. Black men don't cheat. So I'm going to just leave when I start feeling like that. I thought it was maybe the drink. So I left the club and I went to stay with my girl that night, and we had church in the morning. Now I was tired. I didn't get in until about three something, and she woke me up at 7 doing whatever she was doing, and we ended up going to church. And from the moment that I stepped on church ground, she'll tell you my whole disposition changed. Like I've been excited to go to church. I've been ready to learn. I've been taking notes. Something about my attitude was just off, and I could not pinpoint it, man. We went through the whole sermon and I still wasn't really feeling it. Then we ended up going to change track. I mean, not change track. We went to join the church. We're joining the church, and so we went to go do something else. And me and her, it just we wasn't clicking that day, and it was just a lot of distance in our even being next to each other. It was just weird. So we go through that. We end up going back to the spot. It's a lot of dissonance with us, and you're not mindful of these things all the time. But we made it through when we talk, and I always go on a fast for the first 3 days of the month. So I realized that something was attached to me. Like something, I went in that club and something got up on me. Something really got up on me because it didn't even make sense. None of that stuff made sense. My attitude didn't make sense. My disposition didn't make sense. My willingness to want to be in the church didn't make sense. And none of that stuff started happening until I stepped on church grounds, and it stayed with me. It was like a evilness that just was like, I don't like this. I'm looking at people catch the Holy Ghost, and I'm like, what is wrong with them? Like just the same stuff that I used to feel. And that's why we got to stay away from those old spaces. That's why we got to stay away from everything that we left behind and make sure that we leave it behind. Now, I took a chance thinking that I was past this and I'm just above all of this stuff now, but I'm not strong enough in this spiritual warfare to understand what's actually taking place. And sometimes you're not going to understand what's going on until it's too late. And sometimes that too late is really too late. You're not going to be able to rebuild or grab a hold to what it is that you were trying to get rid of. So if you're fighting drug addictions, alcoholism, just abuse, fornication, you might want to stay out of environments that promote and just pretty much have it frolicking all around you. Maybe you're stronger than me, but if you're not, understand that it's probably best to stay away from spaces like that. That's my testimony today. I'm Selvin Hicks. I'm a kingdom builder. Let's build this kingdom together.